Live and direct, back with another rendition of Monday Night Live right here on the LA Tribune TV network. And I'm so excited, Dr. Natalie Forrest, about this week's episode. It's a subject matter that I personally love talking about. And of course, that's spirituality in business. And of course, my name is Mo Rock alongside my wonderful co-host, Dr. Natalie Forrest. And before we get into this incredible lineup that we have this week, a couple quick housekeeping notes for those of you watching and those of us in our global community, both at Southern California and abroad. We do have an event, Natalie, that we want to talk a little bit about. And, you know, this is a real exciting event. And those of you that tuned in last week, we had one of our speakers. Of course, I'm talking about the Quantum Leap Forum. So if you have not marked your calendars yet, do so now. We have Lisa Nichols, Kevin Harrington, Sharon Lecter, Joe Vitale, David Meltzer. And we promised last week, Natalie, that every single week leading up to the event, we would disclose one speaker. But before we disclose this week's speaker, let's watch a quick clip of Sharon Lecter, co-author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, talking about what you guys can expect. And so what can people expect from the event that you and Kevin Harrington and the Los Angeles Tribune team is going to be a part of February 20th and 21st? Just a quick little sample for them on what they can expect at this event.
Well, everything you need to know to be hugely wealthy, you already have. The issue is, have you taken the right steps to turn it into reality? And we're going to be talking about things that you can do, and to use Grant Cardone's term, to 10x your wealth. How about just to get it 5x? Would that work for you? How we can take what you already know. You are already an expert. Nobody's had your wins. Nobody's had your learning opportunities. But I want you to become the authority, not the expert. Become the authority. That means when your phone starts calling, they call you. You're the authority. And then turn that expertise and that authority into income producing assets. You are financially free when the income from your assets exceeds your monthly expenses. It does not have to be millions of dollars. So how about a quantum leap to financial freedom?
Amazing. And of course, you can hear more from Sharon February 20th and 21st. So mark your calendars down. A couple other quick housekeeping notes. We have two new shows, Dr. Forrest, that we are announcing. And both of these people are on this week's episode. Of course, The Storytelling Alchemist with Jerry McDonald. I'm really excited about working with this gentleman. So many exciting things that he has to say. And of course, The Perspective Show with Sherry and Sammy. So two shows that you guys definitely want to keep in mind. And now, Dr. Natalie Forrest, should we announce who we have or should we not announce?
How about we wait like 5 minutes or so just to make it more fun?
I can't do that. I have to do it because I'm really excited for it. We have from the hit film The Godfather, Gianni Russo. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Gianni Russo, who was in the biggest and greatest film of all time, The Godfather, joining us at this event. So we're super excited about that. And Natalie, you know, a lot of people were asking me when when I shared it, they said, Mo, how did you get Gianni Russo from The Godfather, the biggest hit film of all time, to come to this event? And I told them very simply, I made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. And with that being said, let's go ahead now and bring in this panel because we have some real thought leaders from all around the world joining us. And, you know, wow, look at this incredible panel. So first off, guys, welcome to Monday Night Live. Let's start off with just some brief introductions, starting with you, Ali. Go.
Hi, good morning. Good evening. I don't think I have anybody living in a different time zone. I don't know if international. This is Ali Shami. I'm a retired Boeing leader. I've started my company, FTD Global. It's a global engineering and global leadership consulting company. I'm so looking forward to hearing you guys. I went over your, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali, for being with us. And she looks a little familiar. You might remember from the hit movie, The Hangover. Rita Pira, go.
Hi, I'm Rita Pira. I'm the host of a highly rated podcast called Trading Raw Stories. I'm an intuitive holistic life coach, speaker, and writer. I'm truly on a mission to help people heal their mind, their body, and their soul by redefining their limiting beliefs, what they're consuming through their eyes, their ears, and their mouths, debunking their subconscious fears, stopping the self-sabotage, finally getting out of their own way so they can start manifesting the life they've been dreaming of. And yes, I was in The Hangover.
Amazing. Carla Elizondo. And by the way, Carla Elizondo and I have a real cool show coming up called Sacred Ground, and we're going to talk about spirituality every Sunday morning. So Carla, introduce yourself for those that don't know you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm Carla Elizondo. I'm a marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a coach. I teach a 6-month program called Thinking into Results, where it'll change your thinking into the results you want. I am so happy to be here and meet all of you great new people.
Thank you, Carla. And we want to give a big shout out to all the people in the virtual auditorium, Larry, Grace, David, Pankaj, so many wonderful people that are leaving us comments already. Let's take the floor to Jeremy right there in the middle. You got a Whoopi Goldberg spot right now, Jeremy, right there in the Hollywood Square Center. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think I had that the last time.
I think so.
So, hi, everybody. My name is Jeremy. I have a holistic coaching business, and I call it the Storytelling Alchemist, or basically help you transmute your thoughts and your inner world from lead into gold, so to speak, to the golden state of mind. And so that's and I'm starting a show on the LA Tribune this week, so I'm pretty excited about that, and it'll be called Soul Talk by the Storytelling Alchemist. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. So,
Awesome.
well, thanks,
Natalie, go ahead and navigate. Well, I'll be right back.
What? Leaving me. Well, then how about we go right next to Carla. Katerina, give us a couple of pieces of information about the amazing person that you are.
Hi, my friends. I'm Katerina Rando. I serve women on a mission, supporting women to be themselves, do their thing, serve your people, and massively monetize your mastery. And I'm the founder of the Expand Your Fempire popular podcast and the new Expand Your Fempire app. And I'm very excited to be here tonight.
Of course. Heart to heart. Sherry, how about you?
Awesome. Hi, I'm Sherry Gideons. I am a High Vibe thought leader. I am the host of High Vibe Nation and the new upcoming show, Perspectives with Sammy. Looking very much forward to that. But what I do is I help people to clarify what they want in life so that they can win and succeed, and to break through to the next level so they can live the life they were born to live.
Wow. And last but not least, one of my new friends and acquaintances, Roz from Athena Music Wellness. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Natalie, for including me today at the show. So I'm the CEO and co-founders of Athena Music Wellness Therapy. We're a global platform that will provide music therapy and therapist education. So currently we're in the States, United States, are in Italy, Florence, and also in Shanghai, China. We're in 6 hospitals. So when I'm looking at all these experts here, we're in the same industries for mental wellness and for helping children and women. And well, one thing I know, Asia Pacific is a $7.4 billion market by 2024. So I do believe that we established our infrastructures and love to collaborate with everybody and to learn from all of you. Thank you.
Awesome. See, and we've already started. And yes, Ali, we may not officially have right now people from too many different time zones, but we do have people from India, Australia, and other places of the world watching us. Because one of my friends just asked, why is this not over on this time frame? It's way too early for me. So let's talk for a moment, people. Spirituality and business. Does that exist? Is it exclusive? What are your thoughts?
Maybe I can take a stab.
I can tell that everyone's spiritual because they took a second to meditate. And thank you guys for briefly meditating. Let's start off with Sherry Gideons, because I know Sherry has so much to say about this subject matter. Sherry, the floor is yours.
Well, for those of you who don't know, I am the survivor of 2 near-death experiences. And it was those experiences that opened me up to a deeper realm of understanding how the moment is what is the cause of what shows up in our environment as experience. And so, although I was given that blessing to understand that every moment is a vibration, and it's that being that we are being from within ourselves, whether it's, what I like to call a slower vibration, such as pain, suffering, anger, anything like that. And how can we rise to a higher vibration? We can do that, but can we sustain it? And so that's what I do in life, is I help people how to reach up to that higher space of being within themselves to create this life that they want, whether it be in business, more money, greater expression, a deeper connection with family, better health and wellness. And these all have to do with how we are being from within ourselves daily, and it affects every area of our lives.
Of course.
That's incredible. And I want to hear from Carla on this as well, because I know Carla does a lot of, she's a certified practitioner with Bob Proctor, and she talks a lot about the role that our thoughts and spirituality have to do in business. I'm curious, Carla, when a lot of people come to you for help, and obviously Bob Proctor is very well known in the personal and professional development space. What role does spirituality have to play in that when we're talking about our thinking and our thoughts? Anyone that's read the autobiography of a yogi knows that the gentleman who wrote that said that spirituality is 90% psychology, which I think is very fascinating. So, Carla, what do you have to say about that distinction?
Well, I always say, I remember when I first started studying psychology in general, I remember I looked it up and the Greeks used to call it like the study of the soul, like psyche meant soul. And I thought, wow, how far we have come from that original, meaning. And it was just like, so I always use the stick figure. I'm sure anybody who knows Bob Proctor's teachings, Sherry, I know you're really familiar, and I loved what you.
I'm a coach with him too.
Yes. And you are just, I love everything. I'm chasing you around Clubhouse, but that's another.
Me
Guys,
too.
hey, stop competing. We love both of you equally. Okay?
I
We
use
love
this.
each other.
Joneses on this show, okay?
I just met you and I love you.
Oh my goodness. I love that microphone too. So Sherry would know this. So we use this image to show the mind. And I know this is really small right now, but I always say, we have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is where our emotions are. That's our feeling mind. And that's what runs our life. So that program, that's what I think when it comes to thoughts and to anything we do in life, if it isn't coming, and we say this in our normal talk, my heart wasn't in it. I just wasn't feeling it because it was not in your psyche, in your soul, in the place that really runs the ship, our subconscious mind. So
absolutely. Now, before we continue, I want to quickly hit pause and rewind because one of our guests has just now arrived. And, Sammy Mashney, I have to say, I thought I like to arrive fashionably late. But this gentleman, he's taken it to a new level. So Sammy Mashney, we hope that you can hear us. Thank you for joining. I guess that he's still having some technical issues, so we will go back to him in a moment. But before we do that, Katerina, when you were on the show a few weeks ago, you're one of our alumni. You were a hit because you just talked about so many powerful, dynamic things. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject matter, and then we'll go and do an intro with Sammy. Katerina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mo. Your business is supposed to be your bliss. And as I'm getting ready for tonight, I'm thinking, what's the most bliss I've ever had in my business? And it's not the biggest stage or the biggest check. It's the biggest bliss I've seen in the people that I get to serve. And that's why we're in business, right? To be of service and seeing our impact and living our values through our business. So the more we're living our values through our business, the more we're blissing in our business, the more our heart and our soul is coming through. We don't just want to feed our soul. We want to fill our heart with our business. And that comes through with our service. So the more that individuals, everybody listening, can be aligned with their values and what fills their heart, the more they're going to feel their soul and their spirit coming through in their business. And so I'm going to ask everybody to check. Is your work, is your business aligned with your values? Because the more it is, the more you are going to be blissing in your business and the more you are going to feel like you're living on purpose. And that's really what we're all about here, right? Being of service through our business. Yeah. Business, we used to say that business is about profit, right? That's why we're not a nonprofit. But the truth is, today, we are at a higher consciousness with our business, and we see that business is really about being of service and having impact. So check your values, and your spirituality will absolutely come through.
Awesome. And, now we want to bring in the final guest of this week's episode, Sammy Mashney. Thank you so much for strategically, and anyone that knows Sammy knows, Stephen knows he's a very strategical man. So he strategically came a few minutes late so we can all, so he can have this grand arrival. So Stephen, you've already established that you have, more of a strategical mentality than a spiritual mentality. So Stephen, the floor is yours.
Stephen, are you gonna be the one that I'm gonna be on live waiting for you, and you're gonna come in and you're gonna say, Sherry, here I am?
That's right. And of course, for those that don't know what Sherry's talking about, the two of them have a wonderful show that's launching on the LA Tribune TV network. You can watch it on Roku. Of course, it's officially launching next month, so we want to congratulate the two of them. And Stephen, thank you for being fashionably late. Between you and I usually arrive fashionably late myself when I go places, and I do it purposely.
At the risk of being accused of being intentionally fashionably late, I must explain what happened, because I'm a really punctual person and I like to be on time, and I kind of have a grudge against people who are not on time, especially from my culture, because people they say, we'll come and see you at 7, they come at 8 or 9, and I kind of go crazy. But the reason is, it's the price of my loyalty. I have this laptop that I had for a long time. It's like my baby. I kind of warmed up to it. And although I have 5 laptops at the office, brand new and everything, but I like this laptop. I like the keyboard. I like everything. So tonight I was logging in, and it's just going slow, telling me camera, this, that. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do my best tonight, but this laptop is gone. So in the future, I will not be late, fashionably or not. But I'm very sorry, and it's a pleasure to meet you all, and I look forward to a stimulating discussion.
Well, thank you so much.
That was a cameo. Awesome.
Yes.
See, there's always something special with Stephen. So let's jump right back into, because we're talking about spirituality, and of course we already had the 3 ladies really getting into it. Ali, I think I heard you say something initially. Were you going to chime in as well here?
First of all, I'm listening to everybody, and I think the best way to do is just sit down and listen. I don't know if I can add more than what everybody else is adding, but it's really interesting. I mean, when I look at the title, spirituality and business, as we know, there are no words, there are meanings, and when you add 2 words, it could mean something totally different. So in my mind, I started reflecting on my experience in 30 years in corporate, and you can see there's areas that people are put more focus on business, on money, and others on spirituality, connecting with people, making the employees feel good about it. I can just briefly give you a short story that would really it gives a good example of how you can have a team or an organization where the individuals are connected spiritually and delivering the best product and the best service. We had in the organization, every time we have somebody retiring, it's a norm that we walk them to the parking lot, and we tell them goodbye and we hug them, and then they take off. And Alex, at that day, me and myself and the rest of the managers and the leaders were walking him out, and I saw him. He was walking with a small box in his hand. He left all the drawings, all the nice, beautiful pictures of airplanes, all of that, and he's just walking with a box. And I said, Alex, what's in the box? And he said, I have in the box all the little notes that I have received from employees, from peers, from airline customers to thank me. And I am holding it like a baby, taking it to the car. And I was like, oh, wow. So, I mean, in a few words, it's really, I mean, if you want money, you can go for money. There are businesses and there are companies who really know how to connect to the heart and have the hearts talk to the hearts rather than money exchange in hands.
Yes, that's powerful. Yeah, I saw Katarina go like this.
Okay, I have to say, Ali, you touch my heart because I have in my house, like on top of my entertainment center, all notes, all everything. And I have stacks and stacks of extra ones. And so if I ever have a day where I forget for one moment that I have massive value to bring, I just have to pull one of those out or look around. And I encourage everybody who's listening to do that. Do not ever throw a note away. Keep them because, you know, it's going to be good for when you're like Ollie's friend Alex and you're retiring, that you have, or even when you have a bad day, that you don't forget about the massive impact that you have had, because that is the biggest thing that this is all about. And the more that we can forget about, I mean, of course we have to focus on profit, right? I want all my people to make massive monetization, because when you bring your spirituality to your business and you thrive financially, then what do? You take that money and you put it towards causes you care about, and you uplift your communities and other people around the world that need it. But the thing is that we can never forget that it is about service. And that's the big shift, I think, worldwide that is happening with business, is that people are realizing more and more that business is a vehicle for service and uplifting the lives of others through our businesses.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to, can I comment on that? Because something you said, is it Katarina?
Yes.
Correct? And Ali said, because I've been a corporate trainer over getting close to 25 years now. And one of the things, I still hold on to the emails of people saying, that was the best class I've ever taken. And, you know, it's just a great feeling. And I think when you're talking about being of service, I think it's so powerful. I think right now I'm seeing from where you had the kind of authoritative managers and directors and C-suite before, now you're seeing people start to change and thinking about their employees and about how they can be of service to their employees just as much as
Right.
the employees being of service. And it's one of those things, if we build a culture of collaboration and of service to each other, I totally agree with you that we're going to change the dynamics in business. And just to add on to that, my mother was a manager for hospice for many, many years, and managed several teams in hospice. And she did a study where 70% of the hospice workers basically stated they wanted spirituality in the workplace. Now, most people think spirituality is religion, and it's not. It's actually about wholeness and really just living, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I think we put a lot of words on living and looking within ourselves and growing from that. So you could call that emotional intelligence and practicing self-awareness if you wanted to, if it makes you feel better, but it's still spirituality. And so we just have different words and different terms. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, everybody I know, Sherry, I think I mentioned the last time we were on a show together about your near-death experiences, and I've talked to countless people with near-death experiences. What did they experience? They actually experienced facing themselves, not just the life review, but the ultimate understanding of what consciousness is about, and the things that we stress about are so insignificant to the greatness or the wholeness of who you are as a soul. And so I think that when we're talking about business, we can sweat the small stuff a lot. And as a manager of a training department now, I definitely fall into that traps at times. And then I step onto my coaching business outside, and I don't sweat that stuff. So you have to practice the same things that you do outside of your job, in your job, and that is spirituality. So I mean, you can definitely bring spirituality into the workplace.
Yeah, and I think it comes down so much more now, even with the COVID coming into, the experience for everyone, is we've been brought back in to really start to ask those quality questions. Who am I? What am I here? Is life meant to be filled with suffering and challenge and circumstance? Or, what is it I really want out of life? And so much of that comes down to living in the moment and addressing that in the moment, because the more we realize that we're being from a state of mind, and it's like turning a channel up on the dial of a radio station. And when you're turning the dial up, there's static in between until you get to that clear station. And the more that we learn how to open up our tuner and get a clearer channel, the more we pull into our experience, what brings us more joy and happiness. Katarina was mentioning earlier about values. I mean, one of the things I teach in my coaching business is that's one of the platform things that I start with and it's not idealistic values such as authenticity and honest and do unto others as you should do unto yourself. It's really clearly identifying, what is it that is your 5 highest values right now. Giving you an example, mine are teaching, speaking, service, travel, and money is a lower spectrum on my 5 highest values. But what happens is when I'm being from those 5 highest values every day, I could go all day and have plenty of energy, and because I'm aligned and connected. And all those idealistic values, such as integrity and honesty and all of that, they're automatically going to play a role in me being able to identify what those highest values are, because then I feel good about what I'm doing in business or relationships. And then I speak to people, I start to really realize, well, what are their highest values? And I'm willing to find out what those are. And then I'm able to speak to them from their highest values instead of my highest values.
Absolutely, absolutely, Sherry. And real quick, I want to go to the 2 people that have not yet spoken yet on this subject. Let's go to Roz, and then let's go to Rita.
My experience, I believe that is the purpose. I think I agree with most of the speakers here. Is about the purpose of the business. In the years of 2020, we'll host 6 free concert here in Orange County, virtual. So we literally have one concert over 180 people, and in there are 6 of the children are artistic. And at the end of the concert, the parents share about how they feel about the music and the concert that we're giving to them. So from that on, we feel the courage. We even host more events for foster homes children. And we feel that what we have done is make us different than the years before, like 2019. So I guess to echo what all of you saying is to find the purpose of what we do. And from that on, actually, we got a lot of referral of corporate companies that can you create a program like this and this for our management team, or can we do something to partner with the behavior therapies company? So it's that kind of like our connected together. So yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Roz. And I know Rita has a lot to say on this subject matter. If you've listened to her podcast, you know that this is definitely a lot that this is a subject that she delves a lot into. So Rita, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. I've been sitting back and just kind of jotting down some notes from what everybody's been sharing. I love learning. I love taking in all this beautiful knowledge from you all. And I'm like wanting to comment right in. I'm like, no, let them finish, Rita, let them finish. But so for example, I think it was Carla that was speaking about the subconscious mind. I'm always teaching in my coaching that from age 0 to 7, your brain is 100% subconscious. So you're absorbing things in your environment that you're not even aware of at that stage, at that age of your life. You're just trying to make sense of things. And so you take that, you carry that into your adulthood, and it's running the program. Basically, everything you're thinking, everything you're feeling is coming from these, I want to say, survival strategies that we created for ourselves when we're kids. So when you become self-aware of your thoughts and recognize that they're creating your life, the patterns, you look at your current life experiences and go backward, reverse engineer. Where is this coming from? And instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Say, why is this happening for me? What can I learn from this? What is the lesson to learn here? So that's something that stood out to me. And then we were talking about spirituality and business. And really, it's about coming from a place of love, right? And being of service, like we were talking about. And something else I wanted to touch on regarding imposter syndrome. I feel like a lot of people currently right now, especially because of COVID, if anyone listening or watching feels that they may be experiencing depression, I would invite you to Google search something called the dark night of the soul. And a lot of people may be experiencing that, not necessarily depression. It's where you ask those big questions like, who am I? Why am I here? What is the point of all this? And then you might be having some feelings like tugging at your heart, like I'm meant for more. I know that, but I don't know how to start a business. So you might be keeping yourself stuck out of this imposter syndrome, feeling like you don't know where to start. You don't know how to start. Who are you to do this? Who would listen to you? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough, all these different things. And I'm speaking from experience. I've had this calling to serve for the past decade. And I only recently got over my own fear of judgment and fear of feeling like, who am I to do this? I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. Who would pay me to coach them, to help them? All these things keep us stuck. And it's really just our ego, our subconscious mind trying to keep us safe and small in our own familiar zone so that we don't expand and we just stay in our own discomfort. And a lot of people don't make a change until it gets really, really uncomfortable or they get pushed out of the situation. So the dark night of the soul thing is what I really wanted to touch on. And then Sherry, love you. Oh my gosh, the whole thing about your high vibe nation. I just recently did a raise your vibration challenge. Amazing. It was so much fun. I'm all about high vibes and just blasting people with love. I joke and I say I run around in San Diego, California, farting rainbows, and I want to get everyone to do the same. But yeah.
Well, Mo and I go back and forth on this topic because he knows I love talking about high vibe and how to raise your vibe.
Yes,
well,
we need to be on
speaking of which, it is a fantastic subject matter, but what we like to do on this show is we like to make sure that we dig deep. And it's easy to have 10 people that agree on something, but let's have a real conversation. So that's why I want to divert the attention because we're going to talk about high vibrations and higher frequencies for a moment. But I want to go to Stephen Mashney because, Stephen, when you're hearing Rita talk about higher vibrations, when you hear Sherry get it so excited and enthusiastic about higher vibration, I'm curious what's in your mind. And part of the reason I'm curious is, of course, because the two of you do have a show where you guys don't have the same perspective on a lot of issues coming up. So, this is a little sample for those of you that might watch the show with Sherry and Sammy. So, Sammy, what do you think, honestly, when you hear higher vibration, higher frequency, higher conscious? The floor is yours.
Well, I really appreciate all the speakers, the sentiments they expressed about how to deal with issues, spirituality, vibrations, and all of these good, lofty things. To me, I have a different approach. I like to approach things from a position of strength and deep self-confidence. Now, when you rely on vibrations, and I don't mean to, criticize anyone in particular, vibration, spirituality, these things that are outside us, the external powers and influences, we kind of, in a way, are reliant on things that are outside us, that we cannot control, that we are hopeful it's kind of routing for us. I personally like to look deep inside myself, what's intrinsic in me, what is it I can think, what is it I can do, what is it I can analyze. All these things inside me I am sure of 100%. I'm not hopeful that they exist or that they will come to my aid and all of these things. So, and also, when you take this approach, you develop inner strength, insurmountable strength. When you're relying on things that are outside you, it will work for many people, but it's not routed, it's not rooted within you from the inside. And the slightest thing that happens, you can get shaken. The vibrations go the wrong way, or spirituality did not come today. But when you're inside, you're laying the foundation inside you, inside your brain, you're analyzing, you're thinking, you're forming your own rules for your own behavior, how you deal with others. You are more sturdy and less susceptible to being shaken by outside forces and influences. Having said that, I do respect tremendously the other speakers, their approach, but I guess different things work for different people. What works for me are only the things that are inside me. Anything that comes from outside, it's a bonus, which I will accept, but it's not part of my calculations.
Who disagrees
I want
with
to say,
Sammy? Go ahead, Sherry.
I totally disagree. And I'm going to say, here's why I totally disagree. Because every single thing that you just said is exactly what spirituality is exactly what vibrations and frequencies are. That is only looking inwardly. You're not looking at the outer world. You're looking only inwardly and tapping into that source of strength, that source of wholeness. And you're only identifying with that. And as you tap deeper and deeper into that, and you ask better and better questions within that, just everything you just said is exactly what we believe. We believe that is a source of where you go inward to gain perspective and to gain a deeper, greater, grander understanding of your place in life. And you addressed it specifically around self-confidence and strength and building that inner foundation. That's what vibrations and frequencies are, because when you are tapped into that, you're tapped in, turned on, and tuned in to the awareness of who you are, to the awareness of who you are.
Ali, curious to hear what you have to say on this.
I love it.
I love what I just heard. And I think, I believe in the perspective of perspectives. I believe here are two perspectives that we heard, intrinsic versus extrinsic. And maybe I can offer a third perspective, which is a combination of both. You look at, for example, business, and we're in the business of making money versus we're in the business of changing ourselves. Is it I have to look internally? And I totally agree with Sammy, what he's talking about. You got to look inside. Has to be intrinsic. And learning from the outside also is tools to help us to look from the outside, because guess what? Our inside is a reflection of what's on our side. What we look for, we find. It's how we view the outside could really determine how we feel inside. There's a lot of folks who can relate to that. But trust me, growing up in a civil war in Beirut, and when you're in the shelter and you look around and there's nothing, you can't change the external. The only thing that you can change is how you look at things, and how if you look at different, change the way you look at things change, right? And so you don't have anything else except but just between you. And I look at myself and I look at Ali right next to me, how he's dealing with these things. And so I totally agree. I think maybe a combination of both. And I think a lot of companies right now, they're realizing we're not just in the business of making money, but we really want to take care also of our people. And maybe it's, so why not take care of the producer and not just focus on the product? How come? I'm sorry.
Let me, if I may, just clarify a little bit more. Your brain is like a piece of real estate. It's like a pie chart. If you think intrinsically 100%, there's no outside influence. You're not, your brain is not mortgaged. It's not colonized by the thoughts and ideas of others. And the more that you try as much as possible, reach 100% self-analysis, self-belief, self-confidence, and less reliance on forces or sources outside you, things that have not clearly been determined by logic or science. And this includes religion, spirituality, meditation, all these things that are, we think they're good and etc., but you cannot go to court and say, hey, Your Honor, I can prove to you that religion is such and such, spirituality is such and such. So you have to kind of believe in them. You have to make a leap of faith to believe in them, as opposed to that you are able to show proof, solid proof to others. What works for me is the things that I'm able to ascertain for myself rather than belief. This may sound strange and abhorrent to others, but everybody has a different way of looking at life. This is what works for me, and I believe that if people rely completely on themselves 100%, they are less prone to be subject to the winds of the extrinsic things that happens outside them. That's all what I'm saying.
Stephen, if I may, what Sherry was saying is that what you're saying right now is spot on what we teach. It's healing that inner game, right? Being able to be a solid rock on the inside, unshakable grounds of who you are, knowing who you are, falling in love with yourself, and not giving a crap what anybody on this planet thinks of you, has to say about you. You are on a mission. You are being of service. You have goals. You are driven. Nothing can shake you. That is having a strong, solid inner game. And it's healing that process of healing, that journey is what we consider spirituality. Am I right, Sherry? Is that what you were?
That's exactly right. Yep. I believe everything that you're talking about. It's a whole inner game.
Yeah.
And when we take that upon our own journey, we step into that willingness and that desire to live inward from a space of wholeness. Like you said, I mean, when we look in the outer world is merely a mirror of a piece of ourselves. Because when you talk about experiences showing up that are challenging or a struggle or what we would say, negative, all that is doing is merely showing to us a match. So
Sherry, I want to go to Katarina because believe it or not, this conversation has gone so quick. We're already past the half point mark of our show. So Katarina.
So let me say this, because I believe that I'm a good match between head and heart. My first book was called Learn to Power Think, and I love strategy and I love all of this. And I believe that what I do is I create guiding principles, and I encourage my people to create guiding principles so that there's not analysis paralysis. Because Sammy, I'm sure do a great job with analysis, but a lot of people on the planet, they say they're spending so much time analyzing, but they're not in action. Okay?
Yep.
And so, especially in business, you want to create some guiding principles: love, kindness, service. That's my guiding principle. If I have a business decision, I say, where, it doesn't matter for me. It's my dad taught me many years ago, if you can throw money at a problem, it's not a problem. Okay. And so the bottom line doesn't always win. That's an example of a guiding principle. And I want to encourage everybody, create guiding principles for your business, for your life. And as a result, then we're not going to spend a lot of time in analysis paralysis. Rita and Sherry, clearly you have a good sense of what are your guiding principles. And let's encourage everyone to do that, because so many people are not in action because they're getting ready to begin to think about getting going.
So thank you. So Sammy, since your name was mentioned, Sammy, I want to let you respond, and then let's go to Jeremy, Roz, and Carla because they haven't spoken in a while. But Sammy, just in response.
Okay, I think we have to make a clear separation between the things that are spirituality, religion, philosophies of the people that came before us, versus our own internal thinking and logic and awareness of scientific proof. Now, I see spirituality as religion light, or like diet religion. It just because it became kind of not too fashionable to say I'm religious or this and that. So the issue of spirituality came. Spirituality is what? Spirits. What are the spirits? How you define spirits? Can you capture spirits?
It's energy, Sammy.
Okay, saying energy is fine. We have energy, but when you
semantics.
Okay, then I guess we have to define what is spirituality. I see spirituality as like you have the Holy Spirit.
We have sex. I'm sexual or you're not. I'm a spirit. I'm either spiritual or I'm not. I'm in tune with my spirit. I'm in tune with my sexual nature. We have.
You see, the point is,
Carla, the late night show starts in 2 hours. We haven't started that program yet.
When you start using loose definitions of things, you lose what you're looking for. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking generally. Spirit and spirituality is defined by something that we cannot see, we cannot touch, we cannot prove. But when you say energy, yeah, I believe in energy. We have energy, there's electric energy, there's, all these things. But anything that you cannot prove by science or logic, it falls within the realm of spirituality.
Well, let me ask
and
you
religion.
this, Sammy. I'm sure you have a family. You're a good guy. You know Mo. You probably love your wife and kids. How can you prove that in court? What are you going to put a plate of your love? Like, how love is intangible. There's things that are unseen.
You prove it by actions, by when things happen. What do you do? Sacrifice, provision.
How would you prove that in court? Would you take a picture of 1980s and say, look, I love my wife?
Okay, if it comes to the issue of me having to prove my love to members of my family in court, and that's the issue before the court, that's very easy to prove. I provide them with sustenance. I give them a home, shelter.
There's
I love them.
abusers and alcoholics that put food on the table, Sammy. That does not prove love, to provide and to put clothes on the back. And I think that you agree with all of us. I think it's a matter of semantics, and perhaps you have like a paradigm or a negative paradigm around spirit or whatever that means. Because when I hear spirituality,
I do.
Well, I thank you for admitting it, but I just see it like there's two parts. Like, think of a Tylenol capsule. It's red and yellow. You take the whole pill. You don't screw off and just take the yellow part. Life is the whole pill. And I think a lot of people resist, like, well, if I agree with this, then I have to disagree with this. Take the whole pill. Life is both seen and unseen. There is a physical aspect and there is an energetic or spiritual aspect. It's both. And we have 5 senses that our physical body has: see, hear, smell, taste, touch. And then we have the intellectual, which we have to live from the inside out. Because what you're saying, which I agree with you, if we just live from the outside in and let the outside world dictate we're a victim of circumstance. So whatever happens, we're screwed. But if we live from the inside out with our higher faculties of reason, intuition, perception, will, memory, imagination, those things, it doesn't matter what happens on the outside. And that's what you're saying, that we rely on ourselves.
Carla, let's let Sammy respond back uninterrupted, and then we'll move on from this. And you two are doing great. Sammy.
See, energy is physics. It's not something like spirits or the ghosts or, whatever it is. No, it's energy. You can measure it. You can use it. So it's not something that's just because you cannot touch energy with your hand, it doesn't mean that it's not part of the science of physics. So that's a scientific thing. It's not a spiritual thing. And you see, when we mix labels and we freely say, oh, spirituality, this vibration, all these things, a lot of people who are not scientists, who are not logical, will go for that. But if you sit down with scholars, with scientists, with people who are accomplished in science, they tell you, what are you talking about?
You know that our body.
What about energy?
Vibrate. You know that your molecules in your body are vibrating right now. You know that you vibrate and that you have energy coming off your body, right?
Emotions are energy.
Guys, one second. Everyone calm down. So first, let's go to
prove that with science.
Okay, Sherry, 1 second, please. Sherry. So first, let's go to Rita, and then we're gonna go to Jeremy, and then we're gonna go to Sherry. And guys, keep it brief, please. Rita.
Yeah, sure, of course. I just wanted to share one thing, is that emotions are energy. Emotions are literally energy in motion. That is the definition, really. Emotions are energy in motion. So feeling fear has you on a lower vibrational frequency. You attract more fear into your life if you vibrate at that level. So, for example, if I resent someone or feel anger, resentment, fear, hate toward them, I'm carrying that in my body. It's stored in my body somewhere. I'm emitting that energy frequency out, and I'm getting more of that back into my life. So when you find a place of happiness, of joy, of love, and you are able to remain at that without letting external things affect you, like you said, Stephen, I could let go from my job tomorrow and it would not affect me. It would not shake me at my core, because I've done the inner work. I've done the inner game. I've gotten myself to a point where I'm happy and full of love, that I just vibrate love, and I expect good things to happen to me. And that is the story of my life. I could tell you stories that would blow your mind. And it's only because I've been able to have this mindset and this inner game, inner love healing.
Thank you, Rita. Jeremy.
So I was just going to mention that what I've discovered in my life and in my professional career is that people interpret information differently. So, I mean, you can you know, in my coaching practice, if I said to a Christian woman something very Buddhist, she might, you know, not be able to receive that. If I say to Stephen, who sees things with a lot of, or Sammy with a lot of scientific terms, and I say energy and is emotion or emotion, he's not going to necessarily receive that, because we all receive and process information. We may be arriving at the same conclusions,
Right.
but I found that's just language, and really what it comes down to is experience. So it's like I could say to somebody that I've had a shared death experience, and I felt my body come out of my body when my mother stepped out of hers. You know, Sherry can talk about her near-death experiences. And some people would say, well, there's no scientific proof. And I would argue that Dr. Raymond Moody and Dr. PMH Atwater can say otherwise, and Dr. Grayson and stuff like that. But then they would refer to that as pseudoscience. And so it really comes down to where can we come in the mutual understanding in all of our languages. And so I feel that when we come together in these conversations, we start working out the fact that Sammy and all of us all have very similar beliefs. We just use different words.
Yeah.
So in business, if we want to come back to the subject of spirituality in the workplace, how do we actually do that with our clients, with our employees? I teach salespeople. So I teach salespeople how to help small business owners, because Rita talked about it earlier, step into their own businesses and step into their dreams. And so they have to talk individually to those individual people, and to give individual perspective. So just always remember perspective. And I think that's what your guys' show is all about.
Thank you, Jeremy. And for those that liked what Jeremy just said, this is a quick plug that he does have a show on the LA Tribune TV network. So stay tuned for more of Jeremy coming soon. Sherry, I know you wanted to also respond. Let's go to you, but please keep it about 1 minute. Go. The floor is yours.
So just to, moving into the scientific side of it and being able to prove it through science, Sammy, I work with the most well-known neuroscientists in the world. And literally we have hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment where we can test your photonic energy, your field of energy, and the field that's operating around you. We can identify, where you are in yourself around energy, emotions, what it is that's happening in your whole brain pattern. We can test your left hemisphere, your right hemisphere. We can identify how you're perceiving information and how you're connected to your heart. And it shows us the circumference of energy that is existing in each of these areas of your body. What areas are pulling you from your outside social environment, and what areas are pulling you from maybe your family environment and what have you. But everything in the universe is the quantum field. So when we go back to physics, that's what it is.
Thank you, Sherry. And I know Ali has not spoken in a while. I'm really eager to hear what he has to say from his perspective, because if you know anything about him and the work that he's done, he's really proven that he has a very unique mind and a very intelligent man. I don't know if you're a member of Mensa, but I'm sure if you wanted to be, you probably could be. I tried to become a member. They said no. They didn't even look at my application. But I want you to say what you feel so far, because I know you've been patiently waiting for quite a few minutes, Ali. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think maybe from the very beginning, we probably should have spent a little bit of time defining what spirituality is and business, and maybe that would probably help a lot. I believe, and I want to underscore what Jeremy said, in my journey through life, through religions, studying religions, spirituality, all of that, and my conclusion is this: religion to spirituality is like language to meaning. We can go and it's nothing, doesn't mean that this is right and this is wrong. I think the beauty where we were and we were heading is there's going to be an intersection, and some religions really are scientific. You read the religious books and they are scientific, and others they're not. I found that I gravitated from being I believe in science. I'm an engineer. I have engineering degrees, and I totally believe in that. At the same time, I believe in things that even you don't see, faith, things you don't see, and you believe in it happening. So, for example, I mean, one of the fascinating things that I've realized about most of my spiritual friends are the least people to be afraid of death due to COVID. Not necessarily the folks who go every day to a house of prayer, and that should tell us a lot about being just looking only internally versus looking beyond where we are. And both are right. I mean, maybe it's probably hard to look at how can you agree with science and tell me and prove to me versus no, I've seen it, I've had experiences. I mean, Rita's talking, Sherry talking about experiences. How I can combine those two, and I totally understand it because I've seen it both.
Awesome. I want to just, I love what you just said, but I want to bring in, no, not but, and I want to bring in Roz, because Roz is focused on music. And when we're talking about spirituality, when we're talking about vibrations, when we're talking about finding a way to connect everything, I wonder about music, because very often we hear that music is the language that touches everybody, right? So Roz, you've listened very patiently as well to everybody. What are your thoughts on the intersection of music, spirituality, business? Is it words that stand in the way? Oh, hold on, we can't hear you. Do we have her?
Now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I've been listening, I have learned a lot, but yes, I'm in music therapy. So my therapist actually went to the hospice and hospital bedside, play the music, therapeutic music for our patients. So I have learned a lot into this business for 6 years now. I learned that music is universal. You know, we're treating autistic children, Alzheimer patient, Parkinson, and etc. So I believe the balance is body, mind, and spirit. So from my standpoint, we actually, in our business, we actually now in the whole world, corporate enterprise entrepreneur, they realize they can use wellness to help their marketing, to also help the benefits for their employees. So this is all a good thing. But what I encounter also here, doesn't matter in the States or in anywhere in the world, people still struggle to find the inner balance. So that is the reason why I found myself in the industry, mental wellness, well-being, as well as mindfulness and etc. That's the reason why now it's awesome. There are so many of the experts like all of you coming along. Right now we get all this, because before I would say mental wellness is not as a priority. The COVID actually helping us to brought this up. But so to touch up a little bit, I happen to be in the industry of music wellness. So our therapists actually, we have music therapists, sound therapists. These are the people actually use their energy, their mind and soul to treat patients.
Thank you so much, Roz. And I just want to hear real quickly from you, because we are going to go and do our final thoughts here. So first of all, Roz, what are your final thoughts on this distinction that we've been talking about? Real quick, please. The floor is yours. Just to summarize.
I do believe that as doesn't matter if it's entrepreneur or business, and I think the energies exist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much.
Sorry, is this the time where Carla and I will give you a nice piece here playing the piano and I play the cello?
I think so. Although it's interesting because I've seen about
Carla, I got it right here.
The Middle Eastern takeover of this week's episode, guys. 40% of this panel is Middle Eastern. We'll let you guys guess it. Very nice, awesome. So with that being said, I wanted to say, Carla, I've seen you have like 800 roommates, don't you? Because every week I'm on Zoom and someone has that background.
20 beautiful, gorgeous rooms in my home.
Awesome. Got it. Okay.
Yay.
So final thoughts on this week's distinction that we've been talking about. Rita, please. Rita, the floor is yours. Let's hear what you have to say, and let's give you the floor for a couple minutes to really summarize your main takeaways of this week's episode, as well as the final message you want to leave our audience. Rita, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. First of all, let me just say it's been an honor to share the stage with you all, and I'd love to connect with you offline. I think we have a lot that we could collaborate on and bring this sort of thing to the mainstream together. But ultimately, I just wanted to share that your thoughts can create your life, because your thoughts create emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. And if you vibrate at a frequency that is of joy and is of love, you will find yourself looking everywhere for those types of things and bring more of that into your life. And if you are feeling something tugging at your heart, take inspired action. Don't let your ego mind, your logical mind talk you out of the thing that you know you are called to do. Take one little baby step, feel yourself into it. Don't think your way through it. You will get stuck in the how. And if you're interested in connecting with me, my Instagram is Raw Vegan Rita. And I have a podcast called Trading Raw Stories. And I look forward to connecting with whoever's listening and whoever's on this stage. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Rita. Final thoughts, Jeremy, the floor is yours.
Gotta take myself off of mute. I guess my final thoughts is, it's 2021, and let's look at changing our perspective on how we see things, and especially in business. It's like we mentioned, be of service to each other, be of service to your employees, be of service to your family, be of service actually to yourself. And it's one of those things, because I think that we go and we burn the candle at both ends. We don't necessarily do a lot of self-care for ourselves. I think that's important, and it'll change and give you a different perspective.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Let's circle back to the other side over here and go to Katarina. Katarina, final thought. The floor is yours.
I think we're going to have another one, Natalie and Mo, on self-care for people in business. That's a hot topic. I feel because that is a big part of self-care, allowing us to connect with our spirit. I want to say that also we didn't really touch on connection and community, and that's a big part of spirituality. I think that that's the best part about religion is is connection and community. And in business, making sure people feel seen, heard, valued, cared for. This is really, really important. So that is also part of spirituality. And we'll have to save that for another time.
Thank you so much, Katarina. And Carla, go ahead and give us some final thoughts. But before you do that, real briefly, talk about the new project that you and I are doing together as well, and plug that, and then give your final thoughts on this week's episode. Carla, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mo. Yes, Mo and I are so excited. We're doing a show Sundays at 11 a.m. called Sacred Ground, where we will take a random text, sacred text. It could be ancient or modern, philosophy, theology, psychology, anything that really is a written statement from people that helps us navigate the seen and the unseen world. And we will pick at random a reading, read a little bit and discuss it, and see how we can apply it to today to help our world, us and our world. And so my final thoughts today, bringing it back to business and spirituality, I think when we are in spirit, connected to it, both our physical and our energetic, the seen and the unseen, when we're congruent, we are of utmost service. I love, Rita, what you said. I can't wait to connect with you because if we don't know who we are and we're not in ourselves, we can't serve anybody. And money made is just service rendered. And if you ain't making money, you ain't serving.
Thank you so much, Carla. Sherry Gideons, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, we can all tell how my show with Sammy is going to be filled with amazing fun and perspective.
Yes, please. Okay, Sherry, first of all, spend a couple minutes and talk about The Perspective, which is our new show. And it's hosted by Steven, aka Sammy, as well as yourself. Talk about that show and then talk about your final thoughts on this week's episode. I'm excited for the show. I mean, guys, if you like what you saw this week,
I have my popcorn ready.
The floor is yours, Sherry. Go ahead, talk about it.
Oh no, you know what? I'm fully excited about this experience with Steven and AKKA Sammy, because listen, isn't that the beauty of life? Isn't that what Ollie and so many of us have been talking about right here and right now? We've been talking about how each of us has a different perspective. on how life is happening. And so when we respect both sides of that, we can bring a perspective, and what we do is we create more balance and harmony and joy for other people in their lives. And so as, leaving thoughts for here today, my belief is today is all there is. Yesterday is over, tomorrow hasn't yet happened. And it's the choices that we make, the feelings we embody when we wake up in the morning, and we start creating habits like thank you. And then we create non-negotiable habits of looking for the areas that we're grateful for. And we attach more to those feelings, because honestly, it's moving through the moments of today when we're willing to make more or connect more with joy and happiness and love, that will begin to show up more in our daily lives. And that will also shine on tomorrow and create what I like to call every avenue, channel, and opportunity for good and greater good. Because the how at the bottom, at the end of the day, the how is none of our business. It's about getting clear about who we are choosing to be on the inside.
Thank you for that, Sherry. Let's go to Ali. And Ali, before you give your final thoughts, please grab that instrument and play a little bit for us real quick. Just to close out. Yeah, play for a few seconds for us. It's fine.
What do you want me to play?
Play the Godfather theme, because while you're playing the Godfather theme, we want to just remind that we have an event where we do have one of the stars of the Godfather that will be with us. So,
Godfather, yeah. How does it go?
Play whatever you want for a few seconds, Ali. Thank you. Yes, keep playing that. Ladies and gentlemen, 20th and 21st, come join Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, Sharon Lecter, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Lisa Nichols from The Secret, and Gianni Russo from The Godfather. Thank you so much, Ali. That was perfect timing. And with that, let's give a round of applause, everybody. Thank you so much. And Ali, your final words for this week's episode. The floor is yours.
I just love this discussion. I mean, I'm walking away with so much knowledge and energy from the audience. I think the most effective way to change the community is go after the leaders who are executives of organizations, who are priests, who are that, because you influence an individual, one person, you influence the individual with their family, maybe with their neighbors. But if you go towards an executive of an organization, of a big company, you influence the whole organization. And what I saw today with both arguments both are valid, with Sammy and Sherry, what you guys are talking about, this is how you're going to get to the heart and the mind of executives. Because there are some who believe the mind versus the heart. But when you present those two and you realize, like, you know what, both are important, and these are the perspective of two perspectives, there is a third valid perspective, I think you will make a huge impact in not just an individual, but on companies.
Thank you so much, Ali. And we want to give the final word to Sammy, because truth be told, the odds were stacked up against him, folks. At times, I felt like it was, 6 versus 1. So we want to allow him to have the final word. Please do not interrupt him. Sammy, concluding thoughts. The floor is yours.
Well, number one, I'm delighted to be on the same panel with all these honorable, intelligent speakers. As far as being the Lone Ranger, I see myself, intellectually speaking, as like Conan the Barbarian. Regardless of the odds against me, I keep pushing forward, irrespective of what resistance I see, as long as internally I feel that I'm making sense, I'm being honest, I'm being respectful, I'm being loving. I don't have any hate in my heart. As far as respect, I respect people, I respect animals, I respect objects, I respect thoughts of others, whether or not I agree with them or not. And as far as love, which lately I developed in my heart, much more elaborate than before. Love is infinite, not jealous, kind, not based on power. So all these lofty, kind ideas about love, I developed when I have them in me. Now, as far as the issue of energy versus spirituality, I believe in energy 100%. It's measurable. You can teach it in books. Scientists have worked on it. There's magnetic energy. electric energy, all these things. Spirituality, we've heard about it from day one, with all the religions coming, one religion after the other, and very often conflicting. And I came up from a part of the world where religions there are a source of conflict. So ever since I was a little boy, I walked away from all these things. I said, you know what? I need to think for my own, because if things around me start shaking or become tumultuous inside, I have a foundation, just like a house built on a strong foundation. You cannot shake it. I respect what other people think and what gives them comfort. But to me, the only thing that gives me comfort is knowing what I know, that based on my own experience and analysis, as opposed to things on the outside that my grandparents, my ancestors, and all those people said. And that's it. Good night.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sammy.
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone in the virtual auditorium that's been leaving comments and participating. I want to thank all of our awesome panelists. And we will be leaving with one quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "Everybody can be great because everybody can serve." So happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And of course, with that, this was another rendition of Monday Night Live right here on the Los Angeles Tribune Television Network. Until next week, thank you again, and we'll keep the faith.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.